I'm Uli, and I love New York City. I love the Brooklyn Bridge, I love Union Square, Lady Libs, and of course, the people here. But my absolute favorite place is the subway. Now, you may think, why the subway? For me, the subway is a reflection of the city life above. And once we get on these trains, I can actually see all of my fellow New Yorkers. Now, before you think, wait, that's way too romantic, this woman is lying, I'm gonna come clean. I used to be terrified of the subway. Before I moved to New York, I was like, there's no way I'm ever gonna do this. The A running on the F not running at all, and then the train just stopping on the tracks with no AC. So being too broke to take cabs, I decided exposure therapy was the way to go, and I just rode the G train for 4 hours without stopping. And when I did that, something amazing happened. I stopped worrying. And when I stopped worrying, I actually could notice something, which was how many amazing New Yorkers read on the subway. And I thought I could make my commute a whole lot more fun. I could talk to these people about their books and see if I can find out something about their life. So my first conversation was very brief, very awkward, but I took a photo of it, and I also found it electrifying. And this is Hannah. I spoke to her on December 20th in 2013. And from there, I thought, I'm going to keep collecting these conversations. And born was Subway Book Review, where now I have 125,000 followers and contributors in other cities, namely London, Cairo, and Mexico City. And the thing that I have learned from Subway Book Review so far that I wanted to share with you is to, one, never judge a person by their book cover. Prejudice is way hard to kill. And that books do tell us a lot about someone's life, but you have to ask them so that you get the right context about a person. Last December, I was on the train and this young man entered the train, and you could kind of feel people stepping back. The energy changed. They were looking at his backpack. I saw that he also had a book, and so of course I spoke with him. It turned out that he is from Iraq and came to the States as a refugee, and he told me that as a brown person, things changed for him immediately after the election. I spoke to him on December 15th of last year. Once we talked more about his book, I learned that he's a filmmaker and that he actually makes documentaries about refugees, and that he found his book at the Whitney because he wants to learn more about the oil industry and how it affects his life. This is Tarek, by the way. Meet Tarek. He has a first name. So through this, conversations create empathy. Big takeaway for me every time I do it. And by coming to this realization, I decided that I needed to have conversations with people who we don't often hear from, like kids or the elderly, minorities, and women. And kids are really amazing because, of course, they speak their truth and they tell you exactly what's up. This is Victor. He wanted to have a taco party, and he was reading Dragons Love Tacos. This is Madeline, who's reading I Love Dick by Chris Kraus, and said that she feels really weird being on the subway with a book title like I Love Dick, but she's wanting to find out about relationships. So that was her book of choice. I also spoke to the actress Emma Roberts, who was starting a book club, and told me that she loves Joan Didion, and every time she gets a new role, she makes a bookshelf for her character and then learns about that life that way, which I thought was just an amazing way to approach work. This is Kamau. He wrote New York Burning and gives walking tours that talk about the Black history in New York City, and he just totally gave me a new view of New York and is now a very dear friend of mine. So you might think, okay, wait, but books are dying, right? What about all the screen people? No, readers gonna read. I think that readers are just fine. What I am worried about is that we're losing in real life connections and the opportunity to see each other. I've spoken to hundreds of people about hundreds of books, and I've spent hundreds of hours on the subway. We all want to be seen, and we all want to be heard. And by talking about something like a little connector, we can actually make a whole lot of more sense of the world. So I figured now that I've been in New York City for a bit, I have to take this project around the world. And I started in Mexico City this summer. And I did the exact same thing that I do here in New York. I worried less, I looked up, and I talked to strangers. Thanks.